roller coaster of a journey. So yeah, let's give out our journey and hopefully inspire others and help anyone. I'm sure everyone's on their own unique stage at freelancing. So let's see what tips we can give. So I think the first one definitely is why did you get started freelancing? That's always the big one.
So for me, it was actually like quite easy. I think when it came to like starting freelancing, my journey was easier than average because I was actually unemployed anyway. So I started freelancing kind of for fun when I was traveling. I was on some people might know this if they follow me on LinkedIn, but I'd cycled from the UK to Vietnam. So I was about 9 months into my travels. I think, to be honest, I was starting to just like miss work a little bit. I think I was also enjoying the traveling so much. I was starting to think, could I like make this my life? And someone had told me about Upwork, so I applied to it. And I had actually freelanced before back in like 2018 or something like that. It didn't work out so well, but I don't think I really realised that this like world of like remote work was a thing, and this was just before COVID. And I think for me, like remote work felt like some like majestic job that only like really lucky people got to do. And it was not really available to like everyone. I don't know why I thought that, because looking back now, I realise how silly that is. So yeah, I signed up to Upwork and I was like, well, let's just see what happens. And started, as I was in Vietnam and cycling, I was getting these little blogs for like $10 for 1,000 words. And I was obviously buzzed about that. Then, of course, COVID happened. My trip ended. I came home. I'd left my job, so I didn't have anywhere to go back to. And because we were in like the midst of COVID, they were too, they weren't sure what was happening with their business, didn't want to take someone back on. So I went to work in Sainsbury's and I was like picking the online shopping, did that for 12 weeks. But as I was like doing this writing stuff on Upwork, so I would get up at like between 2 and 4 a.m, go and pick the shopping at Sainsbury's, finish at 9 a.m, like have a nap, and then go on Upwork and write my blogs. And then within so it took me 12 weeks really to go from juggling that writing with Sainsbury's to going full-time employed. So that meant I had, full-time self-employed. So that means I had enough money to like make my bills basically. Yeah. So from nothing to 12 weeks is pretty good going during a pandemic.
100%, yeah. It's a crazy journey. I think that inspires it with travel. I did sort of similar. I was traveling. I was like, I'm scared of going back to like a 9 to 5. I just think there's so much opportunity online, and that's the similar route I went, where I started on Upwork and I didn't actually do anything with it. I didn't believe it at first, and then I started watching YouTube videos, and I'm like, some of these freelancers are killing it on here. Like they really are doing well. And I think my first article, the guy said I want a Brian Dean style article. Honestly, and it was probably the best piece of content I've ever done. And it must have been about 4,000 words, and I did it for like $12. And they ordered another, and I did it again. And then I let just the 5 stars roll in, and I think that's crucial to getting started on, especially Upwork. I get people asking me all the time. It's hard to get clients, and I go on and look at the profile, and they've got like $150 as an hourly rate with no credibility, and I think you've got to drop that, throw the ego out the window, and that's how you get started on it, which is obviously a big one for me. So is that how you sort of got your first client, with dropping your rates right low?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me though, I didn't actually consciously drop my rates low. I just didn't know that I could even charge more than that, because like it was just so experimental for me. But I think a low rate, if you've got no like you said, if you've got no credibility either, a low rate is really going to help you. But I think when you've got, everyone can create an Upwork profile with something on it. Like if you've got, like I see this a lot as well, people are like, oh, I'm not getting jobs. I look at their profile, there's no testimonials, there's no portfolio, like there's nothing. So you're trying to sell a service that you either actually can't do or haven't proven that you can do, but you can create proof. Like I use this example, and this is completely true. I walked into a job interview when I was 19, and I didn't have any past experience of like, I wanted to be a copywriter back then. And I actually just I wrote some stuff. I made up a business. I wrote some copy and I took it in, and I just told them the truth. I was like, I don't have any experience, but here you go. I made this up and I got the job. And it would have been, I think I was 19 and the job was about 19 grand, which at the time was like a lot for me. So I was really happy. So you can just do that. Like if you want to be a writer, then just write something and put that on your Upwork, and like don't try and deceive anyone, just be completely honest about it. Like these are samples of my writing for my own blog or for my own passion projects, and that at least is proof of concept. And you can do the same with design, just design something.
Definitely. And I did that. So I think it was my second job. I was based in the UK, and I said to the guy, I said, look, I was honest with him. I said, I've dropped my hourly rate really low. Like, I'm going to give you a really good piece of content. All I ask is obviously, if it's good and you like it, just give me a good review. And I think that's how I think, Rachel, you asked then about setting yourself apart. That's how I set myself apart from all the other freelancers, where I was honest on there and said, look, I have dropped my rate really low for you here. You're going to get an awesome piece of work. And that's how you can, because obviously everyone goes in and they're trying to race to the bottom. We'll do it cheaper. It's like, I'll do it cheaper, but I'm going to give you good quality. As soon as I start getting credibility on that, I am going to up my ratings. And I did that with a couple of guys that I did the work for, where I said, I'll continue to help you, but I'm raising my prices. So just be ready for that. And they like that openness, where you're being honest with them, and obviously the work's got to come in, the credibility. So yeah, awesome. So what do you sort of find difficult? What would you say is the toughest part of freelancing?
I think the toughest thing now is like getting a better work-life balance, because I think mine's okay now, but it's hard. I'm at the laptop all the time, and it is because like I do love it. So this isn't necessarily like a complaint, and it is almost like a hobby. But I think what's difficult is because there's so much opportunity now, isn't there? So like there was a point where freelancing was like my side hustle. Like I was working in Sainsbury's and I was hoping this could take off, and now freelancing is my job, and like that's not enough now. So I'm on to the next thing. So I'm like, oh, well, what else can I do? Like, I can post to LinkedIn and build a following there. And now I'm doing TikTok, and now I've got this other side hustle going on, because it's fun, and that's what it's all about anyway, isn't it? And having that kind of drive to do more. So I think the hard thing is just like putting work into a box. I find that almost impossible, because I don't want to box it away either, because I do like it. But there are other facets of life that I should probably spend more time on, like I don't know, getting outside, going for a walk, just being a bit more like attentive in my relationship and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's
Definitely.
What about you?
I think I'm the same. I think I probably prefer to say a lot of SEOs there, where it's not one of them. That's why I can't do the 9 to 5 SEO. I can't just go and do a 9 to 5, go home and do something else. It becomes your life when you do it. I was awake till like 3 o'clock this morning, reading like Google Docs, and you feel like you've got to constantly be learning. And then also on the flip side of that, you've got the shiny object syndrome, where you'll see so many opportunity, and it's like, oh, that seems awesome. I've started building like my own websites, and obviously the main factor is delivering results for clients. So you're constantly trying to stay on the sharp edge of SEO and understanding new changes. Obviously AI is coming in. So yeah, in terms of like work, like I say, it's good to switch off, to have that over too. I was chatting to Rachel on one of my posts about drawing. I do like drawing, so I pulled the book out the other night and just started drawing again, just to do an hour a night. On top of that, you've got books that you want to read. I've got a half marathon in March, so I'm trying to run for that as well. It's like trying to cram everything in.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to enjoy it. I mean, I do the client work, I do my own websites, and obviously LinkedIn's a big part of what we do. And I think you've got to enjoy it. If it seems like it's a chore, obviously that's when you've got to take a step back and reevaluate which direction you're going in. And obviously, I think freelancing it's raining outside, it's grey. We're sat here in our own houses. This is probably the first chat we've had to an external person today. And that's a big part of it. You've got to stay motivated.
Yeah.
Get into coffee shops. But no, I think the benefits definitely outweigh the cons. We can travel when we want, as long as we take the work with us. And it opens a lot of doors. Like, you wouldn't have this opportunity of networking like this. Trying out new marketing strategies, working with the brands you want to work with, if you did the 9 to 5. So yeah, it opens a lot of opportunities. Would you say it's opened a lot for you?
Oh, loads, like unbelievable amounts. So just like the networking side of like doing this kind of thing now is one thing, like writing for HubSpot, writing for Search Engine Land. Like, do you know what? When I put that on my profile, I had to like stop a minute and be like, that was your dream. Like when I was like young, like the thought of like having like freelance writer on my CV was like not what I even thought was possible. It was just like this distant dream. And I thought I really had to stop and like just like take that in for a minute. Because like you've done it, like well done. Now,
Yeah,
now there's gonna be something new. But like that was almost mad to me, really. Like it almost like it doesn't come easy, so I have to be really careful about saying this, but it almost felt like it came easy, but like, I know it doesn't, but it's because I love it so much. You can just put everything into it. So there's that. I know, so this is quite funny because I've always thought that our freelance journey was like quite similar, so we've almost been on like the same trajectory, although I think I'm always a few steps behind you. I'm like, oh, he's got in there before me again. But there was a time where you went out to Dubai, didn't you? Your client flew you out to Dubai, and I was at that time, my client was trying to get me to fly me out to New York. So that can come from like Upwork, and it didn't happen in the end because it was like during COVID, and we just couldn't get it to work out. But yeah, like that's a mad opportunity, isn't it? That someone would do that and invite you out. So yeah, that's another one. Just working with great clients as well. And I think if you can start your prices lower and put in the hard yards in the early days, you get really good clients in the end. Like I work with clients now and it's so exciting and they're really on fire for the work. And I know that if I put in a bunch of work, they're going to put out a bunch of work as well, and we're going to do great things. So that's great. Yeah,
definitely the client side. Like when I started out and you started getting them bigger clients, and then you're working with them global brands, and it's like these are dream clients. That's why I got into it. I worked a couple of local agencies when I started out, and I was like, it was all like they're bitchy with each other, and it was like fighting over local businesses. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to be working with clients on the other side of America, Australia, Africa, or wherever. And then when you start to work with them clients, it's like, it opens your eyes to like different markets, scalability. Obviously, you get to work with, when you work with these bigger brands, you work with some like amazing teams, email marketers, copywriters. There's so many awesome teams. So yeah, that's one of the biggest pluses. Some great brands out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. What would you say is your go-to like processes? When I started out, I thought your processes have to be amazing, especially with SEO. They've got to be flawless. And I remember someone showed me, is it Ryan Stewart's blueprint, and it like a spaceship, and I'm like, is this really needed? And then when I work with like some of the Fortune 500 companies, they'll invite me in and show me all the systems. And I'd say 9 out of 10 times it's a mess. I've not come across a brand yet where they have a flawless system of working. So I think, as a freelancer, I won't get caught up thinking sort of almost that, that fear factor where you think you're not as good because you don't have these amazing processes or amazing tools and systems in place. And I think, you can get away from that. Just try and focus on what works for you. I think if you try and create all these crazy processes, you get stuck on where you are. You just get lost in your own process. Do you find that you sort of just find what works?
Yeah, so I do have processes, but I haven't seen the process you were talking about, like a spaceship. I don't know what that is for like comparison. But I think like if you want to make your way in freelancing well, I think part of that is having like a good stomach for risk anyway, which means like when someone contacts you for a job and you think, well, I can do that, but I might not be able to pull it off. And if you need to sit in there quite often where it's like that is at reach for me, but I'm going to lose a few nights sleep over doing it. Then you take it, you figure it out when you get there, and that's how you grow and build your rates. Because if you wait until you're perfect at it, well, I mean that's never going to happen, is it? Because I'm not perfect at writing an SEO now, but I'm still just doing my absolute best with it and always reaching for the next thing that's going to kind of level up my skills. So yeah, you don't need to have it all like kind of lined up. But I mean, it's surprising, like you said, like you said that people don't have the best processes, right?
Yeah, definitely not. Any brand I've been with, I've never been, wow, this is flawless to say.
No, and that's that's the thing with like, so kind of like how easy it is to make a difference and to stand out, because I've got processes, so like they're not massively complicated, but they are organized. So someone hires me for like SEO, which is helpful. They want to get to Google or whatever. But what I'm also going to do is keep everyone's workload kind of moving and flowing nicely. I'm almost being a little bit contradictory here, because I'm saying you don't need it and you do need it. So what I'm saying is it's amazing what you can do with one Trello board, like just one process that's outlined, I think. So, but yeah, I certainly didn't have them in the early days. I think I've only really started processing my work in the last year, maybe even less than that. So I did like 3 years of solid freelancing without anything particularly good. But I've got a history of project management, so I guess that comes kind of natural to me as well.
Definitely, yeah. I find, especially in SEO work, this is why I can physically take on, like, say, I get a lot of brands reaching out, but I can't physically take on, say, 30 clients now. I just find there's not a process for SEO, is there? Where, I have my processes, but every brand is unique, and whether you're writing or you're doing SEO, you have to spend time like going through that brand's data. And I think that's a factor that not many people speak about, like, sitting in front of your laptop and staring at the data for 5 hours, looking for opportunities, not something you really build, is it? It's more like, people want buildable stuff, like how many links can you build, how many blog posts can you write, and that's where a lot of agencies will do that and just sell that, blog posts, etc. But you going in and actually spending time on that business is not a factor that's thought about. But I think that's the most crucial part, where you're looking for opportunities. You're looking at ways to scale. Working on the 80-20 principle. 20% of what you do is going to bring 80% of the revenue. So yeah, tailored approach. Awesome. So what do you find sort of the most difficult day-to-day tasks as a freelancer?
Don't know really. I don't know if I have like any like day-to-day difficulties, because it's other than
Dealing
like
with the weather.
down. Pardon?
Dealing with the weather.
Yeah,
Staying
yeah.
up to date.
Yeah, I don't think I really have any like major difficulties now. I think everything's kind of like looking after itself quite well, other than like I suppose like what I do struggle with actually is like, so SEO is like it's a long-term game, isn't it? Nothing happens overnight. And when you're really conscientious, that's quite hard to like stomach, even like client, like I think I've had like 34 contracts on Upwork now, and even now I'm like, oh, this isn't moving fast enough, and I need to do more to make it happen faster. So I think one thing I do struggle with is just like kind of accepting that I've provided a scope of work for the fee of the project, and then actually like kind of sticking quite closely to that. But instead what I do is like, I'm just going to go in and tweak, and I've found this opportunity that if I was doing business well, I would probably say, okay, that's a job for next month, but it's like, I'm just going to do it now. I'm just going to do it now, which is so the retainers swell. So probably that's quite hard. But again, like if I love the job as well, it's why would I not do that? But if I'm being paid for something, really, I should work on my own side hustle and spend that time there. So that probably is the difficulty, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one. I think especially what we do with SEO, you've been sat on the laptop Saturday night looking at brands data, Search Console, you notice the page is popped, and it's like, right, we need to double down on this and drive some traffic through it. I think that's because you will just go in and do it to help the brand, but it is hard to say no, and I think that's why it's hard for us especially to. You can't keep piling clients on, because you don't get that luxury of doing that for brands.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, the more you pile in, the less you can spend that time of looking for opportunity. So yeah, definitely with you on that one. Awesome. So obviously we're both on LinkedIn. Would you say that's a great place for a freelancer to get started on as well?
Yeah, if I could go back, that is one thing I would do differently. I'd have been posting on LinkedIn like 6 years ago, which is probably when I opened the account, and I didn't use it. Like even if you're like full-time employed, start posting on LinkedIn now, because you can start posting, being passionate about the role you play within your job now, because that's probably the thing you would freelance in. assuming that you like what you do. So you could actually start building a network of people and connections and followers, people who like you, who are learning from you. And this like audience will become potentially a client later on. And you know, if they don't become, or even if you are full-time employed, like do it anyway, because you can just funnel leads to the place you work at. If you're very happy there, that's great for everyone. And if you ever do decide to leap, you've got that kind of base to go and pick from, because that's actually what happened to me the first time I freelanced. So the first time I freelanced, I think I was like 19, 20, and I was in a minimum wage job working like 40 hours a week. So actually when I worked out what I was earning, I was actually earning less than minimum wage. I didn't even like it. It's a horrible culture in the office where like people would just kind of like stay late just to be like the last man standing. So the work was just being like, you know what I mean? Like the work that should take 6 hours was taking 10. I just thought, what am I doing? I thought, I'm being paid nothing. I'm just going to leave. So I just quit the job, which I don't recommend. And as it happens, I met a woman at dinner one time, and she had like a clothes tag poking out of a jumper. So I told her, and after that we got talking, and she ended up hiring me, and I became a freelancer for her. So that was great because I had one client, but I didn't have the ability or the skills to go and get more clients. But if I had been posting on LinkedIn, I could have had people who I could have turned to and asked if I could do work for them as well. And that's why I went back into full-time employment. I'm glad I did, because I think it wasn't such a bad thing for me to go back to full-time employment, because I learned a lot in agency. But yeah, I could have planned better and had an audience of people and been freelancing since I was 18 or 19 instead.
Yeah, definitely that one. I'm sure it was just over like a year ago I started on LinkedIn properly. I think, you know, obviously some people have been doing it for years and years, but I think we both obviously like engaging with people, you know, like helping out people, and I think, you know, if you do that, obviously you can climb pretty quick on LinkedIn. I just think there's a lot of bitchiness within the SEO world to say, and you know, obviously some people are very corporate on there, but I think, you know, you just bring your own story and just be transparent in what you do, and just try and give value to people. I think, you know, that's a great place to. Obviously, we try and give out tips daily.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard, you know, you feel like you're doing it, but you know, you stay committed, and you know, you give out them daily tips, and yeah, you can grow on there. Originally, I just started on Upwork, and just helping local businesses. But you know, it opens so many opportunities on there, and obviously, you know, we meet each other like this. You know, you get to build friends. And when I went down in Brighton to the last Brighton SEO, and saw some people, you know, they just recognise you from LinkedIn. You just get chatting, and it's nice to put a face to people in the flesh, really. So yeah, LinkedIn's awesome. But what do you have any goals for the sort of the next couple of years? Are you just going to keep doing what you're doing, freelancing?
Yeah, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, that's for sure. I mean, so freelancing is now turned into this kind of like my bread and butter kind of thing. That's what I do. That's how I make. That's now my safe income, which is people who are starting. You know, that's where they're aiming to get, I suppose. So freelancing now feels very safe, very secure. I don't feel like I'm ever gonna not be able to pay my bills because of freelancing. So that's great. So next, I guess, is just to explore other avenues. I'd quite like to create some courses, something like, you know, SEO for content writers, to help people who are like, because like content writers being asked to do SEO, but they don't really know necessarily how to do it, to train those up a little bit. And I'd quite like to do my own blog and get that making some money. It did make 24p the other month. I was absolutely buzzed about that. But yeah, it's hard to find the time because I want to do it on my own rather than like hiring writers and stuff. So but yeah, that's kind of that's fun. And then other than that, I'm going to be traveling with work for the first time. So although I started while I was traveling, it was like a very small amount of work, whereas now I've got like a few clients we need to look after while navigating traveling. So we'll see how that goes.
Awesome. Yeah, it's good. There's so much opportunity, isn't there? You know, but I think we should tell everyone on this chat that we started at $200 a month mastermind if everyone wants to join. I'm joking. Courses. Obviously, we're both on an ebook. Just giving back to the community, just to help people. I think there's so much opportunity with freelancing. It used to be sort of this grey area of jumping into freelancing, you know, say 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But you see from the biggest brands, like, people leaving like Gymshark, Nike. I see it every day. I start my own freelancing business, whether it's SEO, writing, email marketing, video editing. There's so much opportunity, and it's quick for brands. I think every biggest brand in the world uses freelancers because it's scalable. You can also descale it as well, and you can add so much value. In an hour you can hire an expert, where you usually go through weeks and weeks and weeks, if not months, of hiring people. So yeah, anyone looking to jump into it, 100%. I'm just looking at, should we answer some of these questions in here?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Fine. Yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare, Rachel. I didn't know, guys, on YouTube, you have to verify you're live, and it takes 24 hours. So I logged on early this morning, and click register. So nightmare. I've got freelance writers. How do you think freelance writers can stand out in the market? I think to stand out for writing, definitely for me, is niche down. Become an expert in a niche. I think writing can be a crowded place. So you've got, obviously, as much as we hate to admit it, a lot of brands are using AI now. I'm helping a global brand at the minute, and I've just found out that they're using AI for all the products. And they've got billions in revenue, and it's like, what are you doing? So yeah, niching down for me, definitely, becoming an expert in a niche and become the go-to person for that. I think people remember you more for that. There's a lot of awesome writers out there. Obviously, Rachel, you're an awesome writer, and I just think, niche down, you can even create a mini website around niche, and you'll be the go-to person for that then. And obviously, you can train, if you're looking to grow that model, you can train people then underneath you, where you have a team for that niche. What's your thoughts of it?
Yeah, pretty much the same. And that's exactly how I think I secured gigs when I was writing. So because I was on this like bike trip, and you'll be amazed at like what niches, every niche you could ever think of is looking for a writer these days. Because I was cycling around the world, I actually happened to find my first couple clients were looking for blogs on like bikes. So like, who's more qualified than to write about bikes and someone who cycles halfway across the world? So I use that to kind of get into writing. And I think that does help a lot, because writing is really competitive, because everyone can write, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, because it actually means it's easier to stand out, because everyone's writing, but not many people are writing well. So if you can write well and pick a subject or something that you know enough about to convince someone to hire you, which shouldn't be that hard to do, then you can, I'm going to say you can guarantee a job in 12 weeks on Upwork. Even less. Like I got hired in 6 days, and you could do it, I'd say 4 weeks to be safe, but if you're doing it properly and following kind of the advice that we're putting in here, you would get hired in 4 weeks, I think.
Definitely. In freelancing, but I'm not that much successful, so I wanted to know how it can be. So I think the biggest thing, so I hire on Upwork as well. I use certain writers, etc., developers, and the big thing for me is people just paste. I'll just ignore that. I'd say 20 applicants, 17 of them will paste the message, and it won't even be a short paste. It will be like 500 words of like emojis and links to all these other documents. It's like, you've not even read my message, and you're just pasting something in. And I think Mohammed is used a name. When someone uses my name in a proposal, and when I propose to people, I'll probably do 2 sentences. Yeah, I can help you. Let's jump on a call, chat a bit more about your project. If you've got the name, just use the name. Yeah. And you're just being honest. People hate that pasted. So try and, don't seem desperate in your message and your proposal by pasting that big message. Just say, hey, name, yeah, I can help you with this. Or, here's my experience within that niche. Are you happy to jump on a call just to discuss your project? If you're free this week, that's how you'll get more response. And it's a numbers game as well. Do that 10 times a day, and you will get someone who comes back to you.
Yeah, agree. I think one of my big tips when you're trying to get a job as well is actually, like, it is a numbers game, but I think what some people do is they do that copy and paste thing, and they put it to like 50 jobs, and the relevancy isn't there, like exactly what you've just said. And then you get burned out then, because your full-time job is applying for jobs. You're not getting any jobs. That doesn't feel good. Then you start to think that there's no good work on Upwork, which isn't true. But if you actually do fewer proposals and do them really well, that's going to help you, because you're going to be less burned out. You're going to have more to give in the proposal. It's going to help. But I agree, if someone contacts me for a job, my proposal template is like, if I've got their name, it's high name of, this is like my favorite type of job. I did something similar for client X. They said, add a testimonial. I'd love to chat about this. So it's like, I don't know, 5 sentences probably. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, 100%. Let's just make it relevant, and that's what a lot of people miss out. Because there's some girls on there, and she works for, obviously, for the agency, and every time I put a job out, she's bang straight away, thousand word posted a proposal. So she's just firing out for this agency, and yeah, like, it doesn't work.
And doesn't even realise that you're the same person that she's put the picture into.
No,
yeah.
I've even said, "Come on, man! Like, you can't keep doing this." What was your rate when you started? My rate was, like I said, I think it was like 3,500 to 4,000 words, and I did it for like $11, $12 or something. Best piece of content I've ever done. I'll try and dig it out, the article, and show it on LinkedIn. It was, because you've got to get the 5-star. You know, ego out the window, land the job. You know, you're doing this for the short term to benefit your long term gains. By get a couple of 5-star reviews, and they'll just compound them. You have the credibility.
Great. Yeah, I think I was $10. I don't know how long the article was. Like, maybe it was like 1,000 words, but I can remember like laboring over it. So I probably earned like $2.50 an hour or something, which is like 25% of minimum wage here, even less. But I didn't care, man. I was just like, I couldn't believe I was writing an article and being paid from my sofa, even if it was $10.
Yeah, definitely. When I started, I did want to. I was side of a pool somewhere, because that's where I started blog when I was traveling, and I got paid to write this piece. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm side of a pool writing an article, and like, this is mind blowing. Yeah, that's the reality of it. Hey, can ChatGPT impact SEO? No, it's ChatGPT is another tool. It's AI. It's not. It can't replace humans. It can't replace writers. It's just a tool to use. People will use it to try and replace humans. And obviously, they're the ones that will get hit. As I said, brands are just creating articles with it and put it on the website, and Google's going to catch up. They always do.
Yeah. Yeah, completely agree with that one.
What do you think of the latest article on search engine land? Google testing new search design with AI answers over organisms. Basically said that was the top. There will be an AI answer. I don't think Google will do this because they have all those writing for them. You know, they have the benefit of using our content. That's what, you know, Google is. It's just a library of user-generated content. So they don't need AI. They will be doing AI without knowing it, with obviously some articles at the moment. But yeah, they have us producing content, so I can't see why they push that to the top.
No, I agree.
No.
I think that human written content was always gonna trump, or edited. Like, you need a layer of human in there somewhere, and that's going to smash AI. And you can tell AI content. Like, if you even a human I can read AI and be like, I know that's 100% AI. I haven't got a problem with people using AI content. I don't mind if a writer uses it, doesn't tell me, as long as they've edited it so it's good at the end. I'm happy. But like, you know, there's loads of little telltales and thumbprints on AI content at the moment. So yeah, Google's going to know, and I don't think it would take priority over a human answer.
Definitely not. OpenAI brought out that tool now, haven't they, where you can check. Pretty good as well.
Does it work though? Because I had some content, and I'm sure it was AI, and I mean, I'd put money on it being AI. I put my life on it even, and I ran it through a checker, and like, it didn't flag as AI, but then I wrote something in Jasper. And then I gave it to ChatGPT. I was like, is this AI content? And ChatGPT said, no, it isn't AI content. And I took some of ChatGPT's content and I asked Jasper if it was AI. And Jasper said, no, this isn't AI content. I'm like, well, what do you know? Because it's definitely AI content. I just created it. So I don't know. I haven't found the tools to identify AI content that great, actually.
I think OpenAI is the best.
Must be.
I think the others are playing on marketers' emotions, where you pay a subscription, $40-50 a month, and it'll tell you if it's AI. I think this is what you've got to be careful in the industry now, where people will make money off other people's emotions, where they're worried about AI, etc. And obviously, you pay for them tools, and they just fill in the pockets. And it's a shame, but that's what people do. They create these tools to do that.
Yeah.
Hello, thanks for one follow-up question. How to stand out? I didn't have a portfolio when I started on Upwork. Offering SEO services for $5-6. Obviously, you can't get results for that. At which point I feel pricing. No, what that is just racing to the bottom. Brands like Nike, Under Armour, etc., wouldn't pay $6 for an SEO campaign because they know it's not going to work. I wouldn't pay that for my own project, so I'm sure you wouldn't. It's just don't. You see these prices, but it's not. If an article writer says I'm going to do 3,000 words for $4, and continues doing that, it's a clear indication it's not good quality. You pay for what you get. You don't buy running trainers for £4 and expect to run, an ultra marathon.
Exactly. So yeah, I think what they're saying is, do we think lowering the rate is enough? So like, no, I don't really think it is. When you started on Upwork, did you have a portfolio piece when you got your first job?
No,
I didn't. Sorry, go on.
I was just honest and said I am lowering my prices because I'm just getting started on the platform. And then
that's the way to do it. Like an introductory offer, because then like you kind of saying, I'm not actually cheap, but I need to be to get my way in Upwork, and you're going to have a price raise in like whatever 3 months or something like that. So you kind of like manage their expectations there. So they now feel like they're getting a bargain, and they're helping you, you're helping them, and it's a better kind of relationship than just being cheap.
Definitely, and I have seen a few jobs where people will literally say on the job description, this job is perfect for someone who's new on Upwork, and let's drop the rates to get a 5-star review. Because they know they're going to get a really good job, but for low prices. I think starting on Upwork, don't go on there for the money, go on there for the 5 stars, and to get the 5 stars, drop your rates low for the first couple of jobs, and then just it's how it works, and you just build it up.
To be honest, I would say actually that's a good gauge for freelancing anyway. It's like, don't do it for the money. Like if you just follow the thing that you love and what really excited, because I don't get me wrong, I love earning money, but like I don't really do things just to get more money. I just do what I love and refine what I'm doing, learn more, and then naturally the money just comes anyway. So yeah, I think if you're trying to get money, and I think you can feel that in someone. You can feel when someone's trying to just put their rates up, and when someone is like worth the rate they're charging because they love their job so much that they're going to ace it.
Yeah, it's a good point, that, and I think that's where freelancers set themselves apart from agency. Like, I've got enough work now. I don't need to be desperate. I've never chased anyone on LinkedIn saying, can I have work? I don't chase brands because they don't need to. Agencies are just trying to build that revenue more and more and more. There's some obviously amazing agencies out there, but a lot of them are trying to just grow the revenue. And we're not trying to do that. We're just trying to enjoy our work, obviously earn an income, and just do a good job. And I think that's where you can set yourself apart. When someone's desperate, you'll see now if you search for SEO campaigns on Google, you'll see that from little as £400, £300 a month, just trying to get that money through the door. So yeah, freelance have the power.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's ranking the SEO is about ranking a website. Making a website in the day is pretty easy. So make one website for yourself and rank it, and you can use. Yeah, good point. I did not have any clients my first 10 months. I quit my job when I started freelancing, which was a very bad decision. Yeah, when I started, I was just about to get a mortgage, and I'd had enough in agency, and I said, I'm going to go for it. And I think I'm sure I had like £450 income on the side. And I just thought I'll go into Manchester knocking on doors if I need to, just to get started, just to pay the mortgage. I think just have a resilience. It is tough when you start out, but just believe in yourself. Don't race to the bottom. Don't seem desperate. Just keep trying you know you've got the skills. Obviously, that's why you're freelancing. You just need to prove it to the world that you can do it. Get your first couple of jobs, get some reviews, and it will work. It's just you just got to put in the time and effort. When I was starting out, we're getting up at like 4, 5 o'clock, and just starting straight away, knocking on the doors on the internet. It is tough at first. You've got to put in the hours. I remember you feel bad going for a walk or anything because you feel like you've got to be on a laptop doing work, and that's when you're starting out. That's the reality of it. Still do now, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I would say, like, with the reading that message as well, like, you didn't have any clients for 10 months, quit your job and then started freelancing, which I would agree was a risky decision to make. I mean, I'm not going to call it a bad decision. Like, it's good to try these things. But like, what you can do is you can take more of like a calculated risk. So I guess for you said you had like 450 quid. So it's like, all right, that's not really enough to get by, but you could probably make it work if you had to. And I was a bit the same. So like, I had like a minimum wage job in Sainsbury's. So I was fairly safe. And when I jumped from my full-time, well, that was part-time job, to the full-time freelancing, I was making enough with that one client and felt fairly secure. Because the trouble is as a freelancer, as soon as you get desperate, your proposals read more desperate. So you always want to keep yourself like fairly secure, like have something that you can lean on so that you don't come across as desperate, because like the client they're gonna feel it straight away. You can like genuinely read a desperate proposal, and that just says to the client, you've got no work, you really need them. Whereas if you're a bit more secure, you can just be a bit more kind of balanced and probably like less emotional in your proposal, more assertive, and that's going to help you get more jobs as well.
Definitely, yeah. Like on that, I as well, and I have some guys and they'll just keep messaging me, like 7 times a day. Are we getting started? Are we getting started? Are we getting started? It's like you're pressuring me.
Yeah, I feel like that. And I go the other way as well. Like it puts me off. Yeah, I had that on Fiverr actually. I hired someone who was really great. They did a really good job as some admin, and they messaged me every day like, "Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?" And I was like, "Dude, like, please stop." Because what it was also doing, I didn't freelance much on Fiverr, but my like response rate was going down on Fiverr, so I had like a 10-hour response rate because I was ignoring these "hi, how are you" messages. And they just really wanted to work with me again. But the thing is, I actually already wanted to work with them. I just didn't have the work. But I have not worked with them since now, because to me it was a bit of an invasion of my boundaries, and I said, please stop doing that, and it didn't stop. So I was like, okay, well, we need to respect each other, don't we? Like, if you don't like to work in one way and you ask someone not to, then don't.
Definitely. I had a link builder on LinkedIn, and he kept messaging me, and then he started writing on all my posts, and any response, and then he went to my personal site and like WhatsApp me, and I'm like, "Oh, this is too much." I'm like, I know you're trying to make a living, but you're pushing boundaries. Like you can't be pressuring people like that.
I've had that. People go over to my Facebook and add me on Facebook, and actually that freaks me out.
Definitely. How important is branding when starting out your freelance career? I'm probably still 20% into my branding. I've still got quite a lot to do. So yeah, I think it does look good if you can start early with your personal brand site, and you get your LinkedIn to match that, Instagram feed, TikTok, whatever. All that starts to match up. You can do great things. And yeah, like email channel, everything. It does help. It's nice when you go on someone's site and they've got all the good branding, and it filters across to all the social media channels. So yeah, I think it does help. It's not super important. As I said, mine, I've still got quite a lot to do on mine. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, basically the same. I would say, like, I think like it is important, but I started without it and did 3 years without even putting any thought into my brand, and probably only just started even like picking like a color palette for a brand like 6 months ago, something like that. Maybe a bit longer, I guess, because it took me ages to like actually launch my website. But yeah, so I would say like it's not like essential, but it is really important. So the faster you can get onto it, the better. But I mean, you'll make your first priority when you're freelancing is like actually getting work, and you can get work without a brand.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, SEO is a time-taking process. How can we pick first client without portfolio? one of the best things you can do with that, Mohammed, what I did when I started is just show transparency. So I get the website off them. I say, let me look at your website. I create a loom video and I'd put them through the website and I'd run it through like HRS and say, this is what's wrong with your website. This is the potential with it. You've got these, 27 keywords that on page 2 at the moment that's ready to pop. You've just not got the right content in place, the right UX, etc. And you're basically telling them what's wrong with the site and how to get from A to B. And you can help them with that. I think a lot of freelancers on there will just say, yeah, I will do your SEO, and that's it. And obviously the brand has no idea who you are and you've not told them anything. So get on a loom and you'll talk them through the website. It works, 7, 9 out of 10 times for me. Just like I say, just showing them where they're at.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I was going to add something to it, but I think it's escaped me already. Oh yeah, when I do stuff like that as well, I always I think when you do like the Ahrefs type SEO, that's kind of like what everyone does as well, though. Not with the loom video though. The loom video is a good way to stand out, but like an agency will go and get like a SEMrush report and be like, oh, you've got like 10 broken meta descriptions and 7 tags. And it's like, okay, but that actually doesn't move the needle, but thanks. But what I like to do when I'm doing that kind of report is I'll say, do you know what, this is just what I call like the cookie cutter SEO. Like this is just like this, like even in 10 minutes I found all this, and if I can get into the website on a contract or whatever, then we're going to find loads. So it's like you've also kind of like just teased that's just literally just the beginning, and it is just the beginning. But the client then knows there's a lot more to come as well, because otherwise most people are saying like a similar type thing, because we don't want to go and do a full audit on a site if you're not being paid for it. So yeah, but that's a perfectly good thing to do in the first instance. But I think make sure you kind of communicate that there's way more to come. And I kind of pitch it like it's really exciting, like 10 minutes and I'm already seeing like, and it is exciting, all these really exciting improvements, and I can't wait to get stuck into this. Like, let me know when you want to start, because I can see the opportunities there.
Definitely, yeah. Like that model of sending a HRS with SEMrush report doesn't work. I was working with a brand and there was a guy, he's quite well known in the SEO industry, and he basically sent him a HRS report. So the brand owner comes to me and he said, oh, he sent us this. I was like, oh, then double H2s or double H1s on a page that gets 0 impressions on 0 clicks is not a priority. Don't worry about that. And he just, totally agreed. I think a lot of people still do that, where they'll just export, like you say, SEMrush reports and send it to us. Like,
icky way to do business as well, isn't it? Because like if I put like your work under a microscope, like I could probably find a problem, and if you put my work under a microscope, you could find a problem. It's like, you want to put like a Shakespeare article under a microscope, we could edit that and tell him that Romeo and Juliet was a shit ending because they both died. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter how good you are, that someone can find a problem with something that you've created. So that's just the way it goes. Yeah, it really drives me mad, but the good clients know that as well.
Definitely. Is there somewhere where we can read about your travels, love to know more about the cycling?
Yeah. I'll put my Instagram. I haven't posted on there for a while, but I will start posting when I move again. There we go. I put it in the chat. There's Instagram and the website.
I'll put mine on. This is one of the first sites I started, really. So I love the travel needs. So usually like love being out in countries, and I think that's one of the biggest motivators, was to see more places. Where are we up to on that then? Great idea, John. Thanks so much. Got to jump now, but thanks guys. There's 2 more issues. They don't mention their website in the job post. I don't know whether they open my proposal or not. But if you're getting invited to the job, you can ask for the website. I always ask for the website before, so I get an idea for what the brand is. But yeah, like I said, don't pressure them. If you're just sending a proposal, just show in 2 sentences that you've acknowledged what the job is. The less words you can add in the proposal, but show them that you understand it, the better for me. It just shows that you're professional, you're not migraine, and you can help them out. And that you know, we said just niche it down, make it relevant, and you know that will work. It does work. You'll set yourself apart from 9% of other people on there that's just posting jobs.
Yeah, I think like if I was faced with a job where I didn't know what the website was and I was applying for it, I would, as you said, 2 sentences to show you understood the job, and then I might say something like, you know, SEO is vast, there's lots we could do here. Then maybe I'd bullet point some examples. What I'd really like to do is get your URL and take a look. And then if you've stood out and they say they've had like 30 proposals, they're probably going to shortlist it to like 5 people. And then maybe 5 people who ask for the URL will get it. And then you're in the final 5 then. And that's it. And if you don't hear back from them, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, but you can apply for like 10 jobs a day if you're using that process, because it's just like 5 sentences rather than like these massive long proposals that don't really mean anything, and you're going to get more conversion on that for sure, so you'll feel more motivated to carry on.
Definitely. And I don't know if it's right, but I feel like on Upwork, when I don't really put out a lot of proposals now, but I feel like if you do start churning proposals out, you seem to get more invites. I feel like that's what comes for me.
Oh really? That's interesting. To be honest with you, I haven't put any proposals out there for maybe as much as a year.
Yeah.
Or not. If I have, maybe it's like 2 or 3. They all just come to me now. But that does make sense to me. If you're putting proposals out, maybe you do get invited more. Yeah, I don't know. I can't say, but that makes sense to me. That would be the case.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I don't really put out, and I put a couple out recently, and I started getting just loads of invites. Yeah, interesting one. Guys, have you got any more questions? Let us know. How do you... Yeah, I'll put it on my YouTube after this and ping the link out. How do you find attaching to businesses?
What, so you mean like becoming like part of the team, or?
Yeah, I definitely feel like an emotional connection to it, where you know, you find that fire inside to help that brand, and that's why I always like to work with, you know, brands that I like and, you know, people that I get along with. As probably not great, but a lot of the brands I work with have like my WhatsApp and stuff, and we're chatting on a Saturday night, and just yeah. And I think, you know, I think brands like that, don't they, where you do become a part of the team. I think with a lot of agencies, it's an external model where you pay this external entity to do the work, and you'll get that PDF at the end of the month. But yeah, I'll ask a brand, you know, let's get on a Slack and just keep that communication there. You know, it's quicker, and you know, the wait till the end of the month to say, you know, can we change X, Y, and Z? Can we update this page? Are you sort of the same?
Yeah, so I think you have to be with SEO actually. I think like I always have like a layer of like agileness to a project, because like you never know, like you said earlier on, you could open up Google Search Console and like, oh, that's taken off, and then you want to go with the river a little bit and go with what's good. But yeah, I work with clients who like I absolutely like, I love them. Like if something goes well, it's like I could cry that their business has gone well, like because they are like, I wouldn't say like, some of them are almost like friends now actually, although I'm not quite as friendly with my WhatsApp as you are. I don't tend to give them a WhatsApp.
That's why I go wrong. She's like, what are you doing? It'll be like 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm on WhatsApp to a client.
Oh god, yeah, no, that's a no from me. But one of them's got my WhatsApp, and we were WhatsApping that yesterday even, actually quite late in the evening, because he's in America. So yeah, so some people do, but they do become like your friends. Like, you know, on my this bike trip that I'm doing, I'm going to end up bumping into some like clients hopefully, so I can like, and I'll be messaging saying, I'm actually in your area, like shall we meet up and go for a coffee or whatever. And yeah, I think that luxury does come when you've been freelancing for a while. So when you're freelancing in the early days, you'll probably just take the jobs because you kind of need to, but from experience, like if I get on a meeting with someone now and I'm not vibing with them, like I'd feel like we're not really well, like on the same page, really well connected, I probably wouldn't take the job now. It's quite important to be able to work with people who I really like. and more gets done then as well, because they respect you, you respect them, and you just pull together. And yeah, it's almost like, yeah, like working with like friends or something. Yeah.
That's, yeah, like I said, you feel that emotional connection. If you're working with a brand and they're giving you shit all the time, it's like, I'm not going to spend my Saturday night, putting in that extra work to make it work for your brand. Like, it's hard to do that. I feel like when you get along with the brand, like you just put in that extra fire. You'll get up earlier in the morning, you'll stay up late at night, and you do whatever it takes to obviously rank them to bring them more revenue. And I'm the same. Like, I like to work with people that I enjoy getting on with. Because I enjoy getting on with people. I think if you've got 5 clients and you don't get on with any of them, you're going to have a nightmare. I think that's one of the biggest things on Upwork as well. If you get on a call with a client and they look like they're going to be arsey, avoid that. You're probably going to end up with a bad review, and you don't want that, especially when you're starting out. Look at the when a client comes up on Upwork, look at the past sort of feedback to other
Yeah.
freelancers. If they've got 1 stars on all of them, you're in for a good 1 star.
Yeah, absolutely. Or like, I think if the client has got like, even like a 4 stars, I tread careful, because freelancers tend not to give bad reviews, because like a client they can actually, I think they can edit their review for a period of time.
Right.
But like, yeah, freelance, because we're all really careful with our like reputation, especially on something like Upwork. So to give a client anything less than 5 stars is like a bit scary. So people, I think, only really do that if it's like it's quite serious. So even if a client has got less than that 5 star, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna bother with you. And if they've got 3 stars, it's a hard no. I would just decline that proposal straight away.
Yes, yeah. You've got to balance your energy. I would say you, as freelancers, we commit to a certain amount of projects. We're not taking on loads of different clients. We have a select few, so we want to work with the best ones, and not ones that are going to give drama. At the end of the day, we're giving our time, expertise, and skills to get results. The last thing we want is a load of crap from their end. We just want to build the better in anything in life. The better the communication, the better the results. It's like sending the SAS into war and none of them liking each other, hating each other. It wouldn't work, would it?
No, it wouldn't. Absolutely.
Do you encourage, if I send cold emails to local businesses? Before I started on Upwork, I did it, because it's one of the things I had to do to bring some revenue in. So I just went on to page 2 of Google. Again, not even a cold email, just create a video. Say, look, you're on page 2 of Google. You're obviously not bringing any traffic or revenue in. Here's how I can get you to the top, and explain how you can get them. Obviously, not too, like I said, not too much. And then, do that with 10, and you probably get, 1 or 2 back.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I definitely did my fair share of like knocking doors, and I think for the time I was like, I really wanted to get into writing. So it'd be like, oh, can I write this? Can I try and get you into the local paper? And they've always said yes, especially if it's free. But I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say you should do it for free, because any decent business has got like 200 quid to do some SEO or something to begin with. And you can just go like above and beyond that. Like I was even like in my business plan, like I wrote a business plan a year ago, maybe a bit more. And like my plan was get good clients and just over service them until I get really good case studies. So you can follow that model. So yeah, take on those local business and then just absolutely smash out the water for them. And you've got a good case study then, and then you've got leverage.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I remember one of my first ones that helped to a phone shop, and I ranked them pretty quick, and they had a national business, and I think I did the SEO for like £250, and I ranked that pretty quick, and they said, right, we want to push all these other keywords for this national business. And I was like, right, we're going to need £400 like retainer for it. And they called me in, and they had like a big directors meeting, and they got everyone to sit down, and I'm like, this is a bit full on, isn't it? It's like, I look back now and it's like, wow, I wasn't even charging anything for it. And they had this like big crazy meeting.
I saw that on your LinkedIn actually. It was quite a nice story. It made me laugh. I think I even like read that one out loud to my boyfriend. I was like, it's so funny.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, thank you for that. That's actually, thanks for coming along. Think, have we anything else? Have we covered freelancing there?
Probably quite a lot, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things as well is obviously, never stay where you're at. So we're pretty good at what we do, with SEO, etc. But you never stay static, always trying to learn. I think that's how you grow as a freelancer. Always technology changes, just keep trying to improve.
Definitely. Yeah. To have a good stomach for risk, I think, but nothing too risky. Like I quite like calculated risks, like, it's a bit risky, it's a bit scary. I can probably pull this off, and then just keep doing that,
Yeah, definitely. Events? Are you going to any events this year? Obviously, no, you're going obviously traveling, aren't you? So you won't
Yeah,
go to
I
any.
think I'm going to keep an eye out if I'm any kind of like appear when I'm on the road, like, but probably not. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? You want to do some
Uh,
international this year, don't you?
yeah, I want to try and get abroad. There's some coming up in America, and I think I'll go to Brighton again. And then Josh, there's one in an e-commerce one in Belfast actually in April. So I might try and get up to that. That'd be cool. Yeah, there's loads, isn't there? So I definitely want to try and get out there and do some. I'd love to do some public speaking. I feel like I should push myself out of the comfort zone and do some. That's one of the goals.
You should apply for Brighton then.
I know.
Do it. You could smash that with e-commerce for sure.
I'll have a go. Yeah, I should do. I should apply. It'd be cool. I'd love that to speak there.
Yeah. You would probably get in. Like, yeah. What was it we were just saying about, like, on the edge of the comfort zone? Like that's
Yeah.
the perfect time to do it, isn't it? Like you want to do it, you can do it. Probably a bit scared of it, so you've got to go and do it.
Just got to do it, haven't you?
Yeah,
Awesome. Right, I think is that us done?
I think so. Yeah, thanks so much for coming, guys. I'm really pleased with how many people showed up to that one for the first one.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for everyone for coming. Hope we've had some value, and let's do it again soon. As I said, we'll put it on YouTube, but yeah, if there's anything you guys want to know, obviously just message me or Zoe. If anything, we just want to help people see what it's like for freelancing. It does open a lot of doors, changes your lives.
Yeah, it does, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Zoe.
No worries. Thanks, Lewis.